She felt too much longing for him, wondering if he had fallen asleep yet. She immediately picked up her phone and called Cho Jia. He was currently at the garage, and when he saw the little princess calling, he stepped outside to answer the call. She asked Cho Jia what he was doing. Cho Jia advised her not to act spoiled when he wasn't around. Shinku, feeling annoyed, said, "Spoiled? Who's being spoiled?" "Well, why don't you act spoiled for me now?" "It's late, why haven't you slept yet?" he said gently. Xing replied, "After reading your love letter, I couldn't sleep." Cho Jia asked, "Disappointed because I lack literary talent? I thought all afternoon to write just a few words like that. Take a look, it's really unfair to our Shinku." Cho Jia remembered the content of Shuji's love letter, which was very well written, something like "You are like a star, like a radiant moon, an immortal constellation, she stands out in the crowd, a fleeting glance is enough to get lost in, unable to escape." He couldn't write things like that. He was thinking his letter was really bad, but she didn't care about its content. Xing said there was no injustice. She had never known that mere words could move someone so much. She said the 3 lines he wrote were the most sincere sentences she had ever seen, the most beautiful writing. "It makes me feel more emotionally stirred than any love poem. I really like this love letter, so much that I can't sleep." Shinku said jokingly and sincerely, making Cho Jia ecstatic. "Really like it?" he asked again. "Yes, super like. But why did you think of writing this to me today?" Cho Jia said it was because he saw her throw away a love letter today, so he wanted to make it up to her with another one. "Cho Jia, you're so good. I not only like the love letter, but I like you even more." Oh! She used her whole life just to tease him. But the male lead was really cool-headed. "It's late, little missy. Are you saying these things to me on purpose to keep me awake tonight? So can I come find Xing now?" This trick of tit for tat was very effective with this girl, huh? "It's late now, my grandma won't let me out." Xingke waved his hand. If he really came over, she would have big trouble with nosy neighbors. "All right. Then tomorrow when I pick you up, you repeat what you said on the phone today in front of me. Once again, then kiss me to make up for this sleepless night." She blushed and couldn't continue this increasingly heated conversation, so she said, "It's late, I have to sleep now." "You should sleep early too." She hung up as soon as she finished speaking. She wondered that before she took the initiative, Cho Jia was like a blockhead, with no reaction. So why did he start taking the initiative in their relationship now? It seemed she was a bit shy and couldn't stand it anymore, but at the moment, it didn't seem so bad. The next day, at the bank, Jinghao asked, "Jia, why did you withdraw cash? Can't you pay with your phone?" Xing's family doesn't use phone payments, only cash. His answer shocked Jinghao. "Huh? So is this money for her?" "Yeah, it seems she's a bit short of money." Cho Jia said honestly. "Not really? Xingke looks like a rich girl, why would she be short of money? Besides, we're not a wealthy family, we don't have that much money. Are you starting to support her now?" Zheng Hao wondered. "Without a golden pot, I can earn money. I want to support her for life." Cho Jia confidently spoke about his dream of millions of roses. The next day, Xing went to school with Cho Jia. She secretly glanced at Cho Jia, and he teased her again. "Are you so scared that you have to bite your lip? Are you afraid I'll kiss you?" She blushed and denied, "No way." Cho Jia chuckled, "All right, no more teasing." Then he handed her the backpack and said, "Okay, hurry into class. Oh, and from now on, you pay for your lunch. I've put the activity fee in your bag, so buy whatever you need yourself. I'll give you money every month from now on." She was extremely surprised and said, "I have money, you don't need to give me any." "Okay, don't argue, just go in. If we keep standing here, it'll be troublesome if the homeroom teacher sees us." He firmly stopped her from refusing. Wow, I regret not meeting such an amazing guy during high school. Suddenly, a teacher sternly said, "Cho Jia, class is about to start. Why are you still standing in front of classroom 7? Cho Jia shielded Xing and quickly replied, "I know." Xing hurried into the classroom. The teacher scolded again, "Look at yourself, lazy every day without any improvement. I don't know if later during break, you'll come to my office for a little talk." During break time, he went to the teacher's office, immediately receiving a barrage of criticisms. "Look at your hair, it's so bright green. Why don't you dye it rainbow-colored? This hair color really affects the class's image, so after school, go to the salon and dye it black for me. Otherwise, you'll receive a school-wide level warning." Cho Jia muttered, "If you like warnings, go ahead. Just 2 days ago Xingke praised me, saying my hair color was beautiful." Cho Jia suddenly turned his head and saw Xingke was also here. The teacher continued with snide remarks, "What's your attitude? Do you hear what I'm saying? Both are students, so look at Xingke's class over there. She's a new transfer student, already a good student, and makes a lot of effort. Look at yourself." Then he turned to Xingke. "Xingke, tell me, is his hair really ugly? Does it resemble a student's appearance?" Xingke heard him and felt extremely tense, unable to say anything. The teacher urged her to give her opinion. "Don't be afraid, just speak the truth." Well, speak the truth? She was afraid that if she spoke the truth, the person being scolded would be further upset, even though Cho Jia's hair color was actually quite nice. Xingke slowly replied, "Sir, actually Cho Jia's hair color isn't bad, it just may not suit a student's appearance." Cho Jia turned to her, asking earnestly, "So do I need to dye it black?" Xingke saw that regardless, his hair color at school was indeed too eye-catching. Moreover, if he didn't agree to dye it black today, he would still be called to the homeroom teacher's office for reprimand in a few days. She whispered to Cho Jia, "Just listen to the teacher." The words of the beauty were the supreme command. Cho Jia immediately said, "Okay, I'll listen to the teacher." The teacher was extremely surprised that this kid, who used to be so stubborn, suddenly changed his behavior. In school, there were occasional mentions of Xingke and Cho Jia's affairs, like, "I heard that Cho Jia has been driving her to school every day for the past few days. I'm sure they're dating." What's there to say? They've been dating for a long time. Last time, Cho Jia protected her in front of everyone, and you haven't seen how Cho Jia treats anyone special at school, right? It's true, but it's impossible not to mention this new student is quite formidable. She can make a special student like him return to school. Cho Jia and Xingke heard the gossip, but they didn't pay any attention to it. Cho Jia told her to go back to class and to come find him if anything happened. Xingke was sitting attentively studying when Wu Wu suddenly appeared, startling her. "Little Dove, just now you and Cho Jia came out of the teacher's office together, and a lot of people are gossiping about you too." However, Little Dove, not to prejudice against him, but even though Cho Jia is quite good, there are really too many negative comments related to him. You must be careful living with him. Although in novels, there is a section about an angel who can save others, pulling them out of the abyss, but those are just stories for us to read. Little Dove, you must be really alert. Her best friend was truly wonderful. We always need someone like that by our side when facing difficulties. But you can rest assured, Xingke knew him from a past life, and in this life, she only woke up to be with him. Xingke reassured her friend, "It's okay, Wu Wu, I don't want to redeem him. If he's already destined for the abyss, then I'll fall into the abyss with him." Wu Wu widened her eyes in amazement. "Little Dove, we can't be at ease." Suddenly, the police arrived at the school, and outside it was quite noisy, with the voices of students gossiping in turmoil. "Look, isn't that Cho Jia? Why is he being taken away by the police?" Xingke hurriedly ran out and saw him being taken away by the police. Did the police directly come to the school? Is this very serious, Wu Wu? Can you help me ask for leave from the teacher? Just say there's something urgent at home I need to attend to. Xingke quickly told her best friend, then chased after him outside, coincidentally meeting Jing Hao. She hastily said, Jinghao, wait, do you want to go find Cho Jia? Can you take me along? Get in the car, Jinghao said, follow first, then see if someone can find out the situation beforehand. At the police station, when Xingke rushed in, the two female officers recognized her face. After confirming her name, they brought her inside. She came on her own, so we don't need to escort her from school. In this way, Xingke was also taken in for questioning. It turns out someone called the police at the bar at that time. They said the fight happened because of her, and then came the continuous questions, why did a female student like you wear such clothes to a bar? Xingke had lived an extra life, she wasn't too tender to handle the problem, calmly answering, how did I dress? I bought my clothes with my own money. I didn't steal, rob, or wear overly revealing clothes. Why can't I go to a bar? The senior officer turned to his colleague and whispered, this case is a bit difficult to handle now. She didn't mention that boy, we have no way to accuse him. At this time, in the interrogation room where Cho Jia was, they said, this is the victim's medical report. The victim said all the injuries on their body were from your beating. Cho Jia calmly asked, is there any evidence? If there is, deal with it. If not, don't waste everyone's time. The camera captured images of you hitting that person. Do you still want to argue? The police officer interrogated further. Oh, there's a camera? Then did it capture him harassing the girl? He harassed her with words, and then wanted to pull her out of the door. I saw something wrong and wanted to help. Is that illegal? I admit I hit that guy, but I was trying to save someone, wasn't I? If I didn't intervene, do you want me to just watch the girl being taken away? So, in those few minutes, what did you do after pulling him into the restroom? The police officer accused Cho Jia, but he remained calm. I just brought him in to talk. I told him not to engage in such beastly behavior in the future. Then I went to the restroom and came out. The officer stood up, slamming the table, shouting, he was fine when he went in, but he came out covered in injuries. Isn't that because of you? That beast, I guess many people wanted to hit him. So who can know who actually hit him? Officer, if you have direct evidence, deal with me, Cho Jia retorted. Fine, if you won't speak, it's not a problem. The girl you saved will speak. She's also here at the police station. She was threatened to cry when she arrived, the officer replied. Cho Jia, now truly angered, shouted, she's the victim, what basis do you have to bring her here? Now you're afraid? She's here because of you, so scared that she's been crying incessantly. We heard from your homeroom teacher that she's a good student, who would clearly explain everything to us. What about you? Speaking recklessly here, disrespecting the law, aren't you ashamed? Look at your reaction just now, do you like her? With this attitude of yours, not even having the courage to speak the truth, can you give her a good future? The officer berated. Cho Jia gritted his teeth, if there's evidence, then deal with it. Cho Jia calmly reasoned, this happened many days ago, and he just reported it to the police now. There must be something fishy about this. Moreover, the camera captured him harassing the girl, so why did he dare to report it to the police? It seems like he has support from the police. Someone wants to make me take the fall at this moment? At the same time, outside the interrogation room, a formally dressed person entered, it was Gui Tong. The police chief said to him, Gui Tong, did that person directly take them away, or what? Gui Wenjiao said to them, you guys go ahead and work. I'll have a private chat with this kid. They politely agreed, all right, let's have a private conversation then. Later, all three stood outside the police station, still anxiously waiting. It's almost noon, why hasn't Jia come out yet? Jinghao reassured her, don't worry too much, my Jia is very lucky, nothing will happen to him. However, this time, why did Jia go so heavy-handed? Before, when Xiao Li's gang came to pick on Da, he didn't resort to such violence. Why this time? Xingke wondered in astonishment why he was so heavy-handed this time. She was very worried about him, just because that scoundrel dared to tease her, he did that. Xingke asked Jinghao, has Zhou Jie ever been to the police station before? She thought if this was his first time, he must be very scared, right? Jinghao waved his hand, no, this is Jie's first time here. Absolutely do not think of my Jie as a rogue type, he is a very good man, and he likes you. Oh, right, didn't he give you a love letter yesterday? To write that letter, he drafted it many times. Since he knew you, I've never seen him write so much. Then he started searching online until his phone ran out of battery, then he used a power bank to continue searching for poetic verses. But after a while, Jie cursed, saying none of these writers expressed what he wanted to say. Only during the self-study session last night did he finally find a few sentences he was satisfied with and wrote a whole page, then tore it up. He said the love letter had to be written by himself and couldn't be copied. Anyway, I've never seen Jie so focused and meticulous on anything except when it involves you. Xingke asked Jinghao how he and Zhou Jie got to know each other from a young age. So how did he live when he was young? This story is long. Jie's mother passed away when he was very young. Since then, he has lived with his uncle, but unfortunately, his uncle didn't manage the household affairs well, didn't have money, so his uncle's wife didn't want to support Zhou Jie and often beat him, causing him to leave home on his own. I remember very clearly the winter when he was 7 years old, it was snowing heavily. Jie was wearing a thin coat and was chased out by his uncle's wife. At that time, my mother saw it and gave him a bowl of wonton soup. And just because of this bowl of wonton soup, he forever remembered my mother's kindness. You see, he lacked so much affection that even a bowl of wonton soup made a lasting impression on him. From childhood to adulthood, everything Jie has achieved has been on his own, risking his life to earn it. When he was poorest, even meals weren't enough. 2 years ago, when my mother didn't have money for cancer treatment, he used all his savings to help, but unfortunately, in the end, my mother still left us. Jinghao said with a seriousness that Xingke had never seen before. Zhou Jie recalled the words of the police and his father earlier, look at your reaction just now, you like people, don't you? This form of yours, can you give people a good future life? A decision flashed in Zhou Jie's mind, he didn't say a word, pulled Xingke's hand away in a hurry. Zhou Jie, where do you want to take me? Xingke asked in confusion. Suddenly he turned to face her and without hesitation placed a strong, even rude kiss on her lips. Xingke felt confused at first, closed her eyes to receive the kiss, then sensed something was wrong, Zhou Jie was slipping her spoiled finger on her chest. She involuntarily pushed him away and gave him a slap. Xingke said in a panic, Zhou Jie, I don't want to hit you just now, Zhou Jie smiled faintly and put her hand to her lips, she asked, did the Hallows just kiss you? I kissed really hard. The attitude of a hoodlum makes her really strange. Xingke was puzzled, Zhou Jie, what's wrong with him after all? Xingke, see clearly. I'm a rogue thug. These few days by his side had been nothing more than lust after his body. You look so pretty, you've been clinging to me all day, so if I don't go further, wouldn't it be a waste of your offering? Zhou said coldly. Xingke's eyes widened, not realizing who was in front of her. It's not, this isn't your honest word. Did someone say anything in the police department just now? She tried to reassure him, but Zhou Jie decisively swung her hand away and said, now I don't want to play anymore. I kissed just now, you also slapped one, the two of us huddled. The latter is a little far from me. Xingke choked on his throat, running to hold his hand. Zhou Jie threw her hand away again, told you to stay away from me for a bit, here? Xingke held his face and sobbed, Zhou Jie, don't abandon me. Jinghao walked over and pulled his hand and asked, Zhou Jie, what's wrong with you? Clearly like her, why do you? Zhou Jie threw out Jinghao's hand and climbed into the car and sped away. Xingke cried and begged, Zhou Jie, don't abandon me. Xingke immediately apologized to Jinghao, I shouldn't have asked. Jinghao felt the bridge of his nose and sighed, I already rambled. After all, the person Jia pays the most attention to right now is you, so don't think about him. Shinka felt a pain in her heart because of the story she had just heard. Cho Jia, how unloving was he? Even a bowl of dumplings etched in his heart. At this moment, Cho Jia walked out with Gui Tong. His attitude was cold, and said to him, I didn't go back to Gui Jia with you. You give up this convincing thought. When you dumped my mother that year, I shouldn't take you. Gui softened his voice pleadingly, no matter how you deny it, your blood is flowing on you. Also, the girl you like is so elite, do you deserve her now? Gui held his hand and said, follow me back to Gui Jia. I will hold a press conference to make it public to everyone, give you the identity of the righteous light. Cho Jia threw out his hand, I don't need Gui Jia, and as for my girl, whether she is worthy or not is not up to you to decide. When he reached the gate, only Cho Jia was alone. Shinku ran over and hugged him tightly, seeing you is nothing, it's really good. Looking at her like that, he hurt like tearing his heart. But they're right, what does he get right now to be with her? He shouldn't have disturbed her outlook, staying with her for a few short days, she was talked about. He was even led to the police department. The more Cho Jia thought, the more he twisted the throttle and accelerated. All of this is on me. It was also pouring rain at this time, but Shinker still tried to run after him and shouted, Cho Jia, don't throw me away. Because the road was slippery, it caused her to fall onto the road. Jing Hao and Xinjing chased after her comfortingly. Shinku, don't chase after me, today's incident is too sudden, I'm afraid that Jia's heart is also very chaotic. That's right, that's not the way, we brought you back today. Shinku choked. Cho Jia, he won't dump me now. Cho Jia is so heartbroken that he hesitates, he can't give up on her. Immediately made a U-turn and turned back, telling two friends, it's troublesome for you again. Cho Jia picked up Shinku and put her in a taxi called earlier, saying, the air conditioner driver opens the kettle, the car fare I will give more, is there paper on the car? As many towels as possible, these I will pay. Shinku thought to himself, he had just agreed with him before, and he wouldn't let go of his hand. But after going to the police department for a ride, he suddenly became so. Did someone in the police department say something to him? She suddenly remembered that when Cho Jia was taken away by the police at school, the students in the school whispered to each other, the new student friend has such an elite achievement and is dating this kind of person. What a pity! The other Cho looked very handsome but not trustworthy at all. Not even a high school graduate, he had to go to the police station. The new student who dated him basically won't have a good future. Shinku looked up at him and whispered in his heart, so at that time he started to worry, he was afraid that he would make himself talked about by others. But I really don't pay attention to those things. After that, Cho Jia takes her back to his place. She asked, is this your home? He replied, not a house, this is just a rented room. This place is pretty simple, a little bit of a temporary place. He put her down and told her to take a shower, I'll leave my clothes in front of the bathroom door for you later. Cho Jia had just turned away when Shinku hugged him tightly from behind. I don't know what you heard or what you were thinking about today, I just wanted to tell you. I don't care about anything else, I just want to be with you. All my life apart from you, I won't like any other boy. If you insist on leaving, wherever you are, I'll go find you. Take a day, 2 days, a year or 10 years, and I'll always be looking for you. If I can't find it, then I'll live this life alone. So you don't need to think things like it's going to affect me or make me live badly. Whether I live well or not depends only on whether you are with me or not. My Cho Jia is really good, you deserve me to love all my life. Cho Jia, you are not in the abyss, nor am I in the light. So don't separate yourself. Shinku took his hand and raised it and said calmly, if you have to think so, then is this okay? If the sun is too blinding, I vow to fall into the abyss with you. Cho Jia looked at Shinku and wondered, where do I end up with such a place for her? Then he asked, am I going to do anything to you that won't be angry? He wondered why, even though he had made fun of her, she wasn't angry. Shinku replied, I was so angry just now that you kissed me so hard, and even reached inside my shirt. But compared to the fact that you want to leave me, I might not compare those things. Top of form. Cho Jia went on to ask, why do you think I'm worth your suffering? Shinku said that in the morning in class, a classmate raped him. Cho Jia was surprised and shouted, who hit you? Where did she hit? Now I'm looking for her. Wait, what stupid are you laughing at? Who bullied you after all? She laughed and confessed, I just fooled you, no one in school bullied me. Just now you asked why your judgment is worthy of my trust. Because only you, after hearing about my bullying, will be heartbroken and outraged. Not even asking why I wanted to vent my anger. Cho Jia, except for you, I won't meet a second son who can treat me so well. Now that I've seen it, how can I let go? She hugged Cho Jia and begged, can you pamper me all your life? Okay, sorry, I won't be like that later. So you say you have to keep your word, you can't swallow it, Cho said softly. Am I in your mind the one who speaks without keeping his word? I have to remind myself of that every time. And you, he said, see how many times you've swallowed your words. Your trustworthiness in my heart has gradually diminished. She grumbled. Yes, I'll make a lot of effort later, Cho promised as if to a child. Boy, you have to put in a lot of effort later. Cho Jia finished the duel. Alright, hurry up and take a shower, my clothes will be placed in front of the bathroom door in a moment. I'll be out for a while. Shinku said, then you have to hurry back there. At this time, Cho Jia held an unlit cigarette and secretly said that today would not happen for the second time in his life. Remembering the last time, Shinku told him to smoke a little, Cho Jia immediately let go of the cigarette. If the sun is too blinding, I vow to fall with you into the abyss. This time I walked in the sun, you stood still, I ran towards you. After a while, Cho Jia walked in, he looked at Shinku for a while, his face was as red as a chili pepper, his throat was swallowing heavily, and asked in confusion, what? Why not wear pants? She said embarrassedly, no, it's not, don't think about it. Not wearing pants is because your pants are too wide, my waist can't hold. I just put it on and slipped down. I called you just now, and you weren't home so I thought I'd go out and find out a little bit first and see if there's anything I can use to clip it. Cho Jia teased, so Xing didn't wear anything on his lap? She looked up and said, I'm dressed, her hand was trying to pull at the shirt that covered her lower body. Oh, so what's on? Seeing that her face was as red as a tomato, Cho Jia pinched her cheek and smiled, it's dressed, it's on. He handed her the bag of pawns inside instead. She took it and asked, is this what he went out to buy just now? Well, hurry up and change, or these legs of yours are too dazzling, he further teased. She screamed embarrassedly. All right, stop teasing you, hurry up and get changed, he said softly. She went to the bathroom, opened her bag and took it out. Much to Cho Jia's surprise, he even bought her a disposable bra and pants. He was really thoughtful, even the size fit. She suddenly paused, how does he know his size? Well, maybe you forgot, but I witnessed him measure it by hand in a bush at the police station. After a while, she gorgeous stepped out like a princess. It's not uncomfortable, it's just that you didn't buy me shorts. Cho Jia asked in bewilderment what the pants were. She explained, it's a pair of inner pants that don't show my thighs, if I'm not wearing them out in the wind or having a big impact, I'll have my thighs exposed. I didn't know there was this outfit before. So you stay in the cafeteria first. Now I'm out buying. Wait a minute, I'll be right back. Xingke hurriedly grabbed Cho Jia's hand and pulled it back. I just told you a little, if you still buy me a dress in the future, remember to buy those protective pants. Cho Jia blushed and rolled his eyes at her. What did she say? Later? Cho Jia turned to ask, what did you just say? Later? Yes, we will live together later, you have to buy me a new dress. Okay, I'll buy Xing a lot of beautiful new clothes in the future, he said happily. No need to be beautiful, no need to be expensive, you buy what I like, Shinker said with a smile. Okay, since you came back you have always been busy taking care of me, until now even wet clothes have not been changed. He also hurried to take a shower and change. Wait for you to finish and then let's eat together. Yes. You eat first, I'll take a shower, he said, and Chojia took off his shirt, revealing his toned body, which was indeed an 8-pack abs, just as Jinghao said earlier. Shinka blushed, and his throat was full of salivation, just like when Chojia looked at her just now. She muttered, she couldn't help but say Chojia's figure was also quite great. Chojia turned to ask her, what's wrong, Xing? She shamelessly turned her head to dodge. No, it's okay. Hurry up and take a shower, or it will be cold in a while. After a while, Chojia finished taking a shower and walked out and asked her, why don't you eat? Not to taste? No, I want to wait for you to eat with me. She replied. Chojia told me not to wait for my meal in the future, not to let myself go hungry. Shinka pretended not to hear and put the food into Chojia's bowl. You eat a lot, she carefully took the food into her mouth. She suddenly remembered and asked, that's right, Chojia, how do you know what size clothes I'm wearing? Chojia said casually, you're so skinny that you definitely wear size S. She hesitated, I didn't say skirt, I was talking about the inside. Chojia was dumbfounded for a moment and then said, didn't I touch you a little when I kissed you, then I knew. She was embarrassed and then very quickly, then bloody jealously again, touching one you know? Do you know a girl's body very well? Before, you. Chojia interrupted, no, there wasn't before. Think about it. I'm afraid to ask you about bra sizes, you'll say I'm joking around, so I looked up the internet a bit. Looked to see what size a hand could hold. Chojia's sincerity made Shinku embarrassed and hurriedly stopped. Okay, don't talk anymore. So, you kissed another girl before? Chojia panicked. No, I only touched you. She sulked. No wonder your kissing technique is so poor. What? At that time he deliberately kissed roughly, just to make her hate him. So, after eating, I hug you and kiss you again, kiss until Xing is satisfied. Dare to challenge this notorious gypsy big brother Jia, she is indeed a fledgling sheep. Xingker said shyly, no need. He reassured her, okay, no more teasing you. Hurry up and eat rice. After eating, I took you back to school. I missed half of your class today. Shinka said, but now I suddenly feel a little sleepy, I want to stay at your house for a while and then come back? The meal is done, should there be another party now? Chojia stood up and said, okay, then I can help you change the sheets and blanket covers to new ones. Let's go inside and get some sleep. She held Chojia's hand back, no need, I'll just sleep for a while. There's no need for such fuss. She went to bed and told Chojia, can you stay here, can't you go out? I don't want to wake up and not see you. Okay, I'm by your side watching you, waiting for you to wake up, he said lovingly. Watching her sleep soundly, Chojia remembered Shinka's words, if the sun is too blinding, I will fall into the abyss with you. Whether I live well or not depends only on whether you are with me or not. My Chojia is really good, he deserves me to be my friend for a lifetime. This time he had to try to enter her world, try to keep up with her footsteps. He told himself he needed to move to the same height as her and not permanently hide in his dark depths, getting worse and worse. Starting today, I walk in the sun, you stand still, I run towards you. Chojia went to school to get her briefcase back. Shinker was still asleep at this time. She seemed to meet a dream, shouted wait, don't go, don't leave me, and was startled to wake up. Chojia called, Xing, don't be afraid. I'm here, Xingku. She dreamed of not waking up, her hand hitting him repeatedly and crying, you're an asshole. Why are you ignoring me? Why would you want to abandon me? You're so selfish, you hear what other people say and want to leave me. Chojia hugged her and coaxed, I'm selfish, I'm a bitch, I'm sorry Xingku. She came to her senses and said, you can't do something like this today. Don't leave me. Cho Jia raised his hand and vowed, I guarantee it won't be like that in the future. If not, just let the heavenly lightning beat me to death. Shinka burst into sobs and bit Cho Jia's hand. She remembered the dream image of seeing him kneeling in front of her grave with a knife to kill himself, that heartbreaking feeling of helplessness that could not happen again. She bit Cho Jia's hand, clearly marking a bloody tooth mark. Cho Jia, I'm afraid I won't be able to keep you next time, so don't even think about leaving, never. I won't abandon you again, never, never next time. Suddenly Shinka fainted. Cho Jia panicked and called out her name and immediately took her to the hospital. The doctor told her how she was. Don't worry, she just had a cold that led to a low-grade fever. He prescribed medication and told him to take it on time. Cho Jia was still anxious, suggesting that to ensure their safety, they should stay in the hospital for another night. Suddenly Shinka pulled his hand. No need, Cho Jia. I feel much better now. If I don't go home tonight, my grandmother will be very worried. Cho Jia finally agreed to take her back, saying, if the evening is uncomfortable, just call me for a few hours, I'll come any time, here? She asked Cho Jia if today would scare him. At that time, after I woke up, my mind was in turmoil. After saying that, she looked at him apologetically. He hugged her comfortingly, not threatened, just quite heartbroken. It's all my problem, don't think about it, don't apologize. Hurry home, if you don't, your grandmother will be worried. Go back and get some sleep, I'll pick you up tomorrow morning. Cho Jia watched her walk away with the words in her mind, I'm afraid I won't be able to keep you next time. She had never paid attention to other people's gossip before, but this time she bravely approached her from beginning to end. She didn't give up. I started to hide and back down because of some other people's words. Cho Jia felt angry with himself. You're such a coward. Cho Jia sat down on a park bench, remembering the doctor's advice to pay attention to rest. Maintaining adequate sleep will be beneficial for recuperation. Cho Jia searched the internet, looking for short stories to tell his girlfriend before bed. If she hasn't slept yet, consider this a bedtime story. Good night, and if she's already asleep, it won't make a fuss about her waking up. At this time, Shinka's phone vibrated. She opened it to see Cho Jia's recording. She opened it and laughed and said, You're so stupid. Saying that, she opened for a long time and listened to Cho Jia's story, and then fell asleep all the time. The next morning, Shinka looked at Cho Jia's red eyes and asked worriedly, Did you not sleep well last night? Cho Jia came over and stroked her hair and said, I slept very well last night. It was just that when I dyed my hair at the hair salon, the hairdresser's hands carelessly dropped the dye on my eyes. So the eyes look a little red. It's okay, tomorrow will be fine. She then grumbled, That hairdresser, that's unprofessional. It's unprofessional. Don't look for him next time. Cho Jia asked, Have you taken the medicine this morning? Does getting a nap feel better? Oh, I heard someone's fairy tale said me so I slept super well. Now I feel completely well, Shinku enthused. Good story? If it's evening, I'll tell Xing Xing again. Okay, reluctant can still listen. Tonight continues. Okay, continue to tell Xing Xing tonight. I remember last night mentioning that the princess had a solemn wedding with the knight, and then went to the flower room cave. Tell Shinku tonight, the princess is below. Shinku immediately interrupted him and asked, Why is the princess below? Cho Jia pressed close to her face, smiled mysteriously, Don't want to be below, Shinku wants to be above. She looked dumbfounded, and Cho Jia smiled, Shinku, why are you so cute? She asked again, why, after all? A very naive girl indeed, she had absolutely no idea about things that weren't meant for young children. I don't understand, Cho Jia comforted her. After a while, she thought of it and blushed. She was grumpy. Cho Jia, are you shameless? After a while, Cho seriously said that if they kept riding a motorbike together to school, it would be troublesome for the teacher, and she had just gotten sick, so she shouldn't be cold on the motorbike. The bus ride was also convenient but cramped, so he wanted her to take a taxi for a few days. Shinker thought that they could not afford to take so many taxis, they should still take the bus to save. So she was going to take the bus. together. The bus arrived, Shinku stepped up and urged Cho Jia to get on the bus. Cho Jia put his arm around Shinku and thought that both small and stuffy carriages everywhere were people crowded together. Suddenly a man stood close and touched Shinku. Cho Jia snapped, "Fuck! Why can't you stand with blind eyes?" He panicked and walked forward, dodging. Shinku said it's okay, let's not pay attention to him. Cho Jia looked at her and thought, if I had money, and I could buy a car, my little princess wouldn't have to endure this crowding. When he got off the bus, Cho Jia said to Shinku, I won't let you sit on the bus forever. Wait for me to recover, I'm still riding your motorbike to school. Shinku asked Cho Jia curiously, do you have books in your backpack? Oh, so what books did you put inside? Do you have a class schedule? Of course it does. Not only did I bring textbooks, but I also bought some tutoring books along with some practice books, Cho Jia said proudly. Hearing this, Shinku laughed. Cho Jia put on her shoulders and smiled proudly and said, fuck. I have a hard time wanting to go to school every day to study hard. Is anything so funny? It's not that it's funny, it's that I'm shocked by your actions. It's fun, Shinku explained. All right, stop being upset. From now on, let's study together, Cho Jia said. At this time, everyone was talking about Cho Jia and her newly arrived classmate. Wasn't that Cho Jia taken away by the police yesterday? Yes, I don't know what happened to be taken away, to be led away by the police, so there must have been a big crime. That's right, I heard from my classmate in class 6 that yesterday, after Cho Jia was led away by the police, the other Shinku also chased him over. Oh my god, she's crazy too, but normally, the kind of schoolgirl who looks pretty like her is actually very insecure, everyone was talking. Hearing this, Cho Jia couldn't help but turn around and tried to rush to fight them, but Shinku stopped him. Don't pay attention to them. Whatever they like to say, let them say it. You have time to debate with them and you don't even have time to talk to me a few more times, he said. This makes sense, Cho agrees with her on this. All right, let's hurry up. If you don't go, it'll be late, she said. When he entered the classroom, Jia's two best friends were surprised by his hair. Fuck. You didn't look wrong, did you? Is this Jia? Why are you bringing a backpack to school? Jinghao burst out laughing. Brother Jia, do you have books in your pocket? Brother Jia, why are you so corrupt? Oh no, it's a change of temperament. Cho Jia put his foot up and kicked Jinghao's ass. You're just metamorphosed. Cho Jia rummaged through his backpack and took out the book and slammed it on the table. Fuck. Isn't it, Jia really does? Don't say you're Jagwee's lost son for years? Yesterday after Mr. Gue looked for you to talk, are you going to start studying hard again? Cho Jia asked Gue Wen Jiao to find you? Jinghao said, yesterday after you took Shinku away, Mr. Gue who came with me from the police department stopped me and Xinjing and talked. He said you was Jagwee's long-lost son. He felt sorry for you, wanted to make it up, but you still didn't accept it. What I mean by that is to say we're here to advise you. The other president even gave us a bank card that said it was a bit of his mind, but we didn't accept it. He also talked about how the vile man at the billiard bar was seriously injured, and he had already dealt with it. Tell us not to worry, we called you at the time, I didn't pick up the phone and thought I'd come and talk to you this morning. Brother Jia, is what Mr. Gue said true? Are you really his long-lost son? They asked Cho Jia seriously. Cho Jia said, of course not. My surname Cho, his surname Gue has no relation to him. Talking about fights again where the evidence wasn't enough, he pretended to be more serious than that. Jinghao asked, then why should he? Cho Jia interrupted, okay, stop asking. I have to learn. Brother Jia suddenly started studying hard. It's true that the sun rises from the west, they exclaimed in amazement. On the other side, when Shinku entered the classroom at this time, everyone looked at her and chatted. I thought she wasn't going to school today. Yesterday chased Cho Jia out, she was crazy too. That's right, obviously just transferred here. Why did he date Cho Jia already? You tell me if she was expelled from her alma mater before she moved to our school, but who switched schools in her 12th year? Suddenly, Manwha shouted, "You're beeping something. I see you're all jealous, right? Jealous of the Shinku who just moved and kidnapped our Marshal Chang. You guys don't even have time to chatter like memorizing a few more English words." And Zhou Minji, whom Cho Jia had told him to protect Shinku last time, continued to speak. "That's right, what do you guys talk about her every day? You guys are sick, aren't you?" Then he turned and raised his hand brightly. "Hello, Sister Xing." Wu Wu approached Xingku's ear and asked, "What's wrong with this Zhou Minji?" Xingku shook his head, not knowing. They normally don't interact with her at all. Why are people so unusual today? Suddenly, Cho Jia stood outside the window and reached inside, touched Xingku's forehead and asked her, "Are there any uncomfortable places?" Xingku said no, but Wu Wu interjected and said that she had a little cough this morning, and asked Cho Jia to find some warm water. The water heater on class 7 that had just boiled had already been divided by the whole class. Xingku had not yet taken it. Cho Jia took the water bottle on the table and told him to wait a bit. Cho Jia went to the water bottle and sat next to him and waited. Minji stammered and asked, "Brother Jia, are you here waiting for cold water or warm water?" "Get cold water, I still need to sit here and wait. Are you silly?" Minji trembled. "Then Brother Jia, lift your legs a little, I pour cold water." "Thank you Jia for lifting your precious legs." Cho Jia heard this and asked, "Am I scary?" Then he whispered to himself, "Remember just now, I caught a glimpse of Xingku, she seems to be scared too." Minji finished taking the water and said, "Brother Jia, I think a lot, you are so handsome and have such an interactive force, how can it be scary?" Fuck! The force interacts? This image Cho Jia himself can't even believe. After a while, Cho Jia came in and gave her warm water, telling her like a child, "Xingku, be careful of the heat, finish drinking and tell me." Cho Jia tells him if she wants anything, she tells him herself, but she says nonchalantly, "I heard it." After Cho Jia went out, Xingku took out his phone and texted, "What did you do coldly just now? Since you're coughing, there's no warm drinking water, why don't you tell me?" Wu Wu doesn't speak, you don't say either? She wondered if getting angry over such a small matter was necessary. She then asked herself, do I have to tell him about every little thing? So only big matters are worth mentioning, huh? Only when there are injuries, illnesses, or serious problems can I talk to you? You used to say that you wanted to know everything I needed, no matter how small. Cho Jia grumbled, and Xingku sighed, "You're too overbearing." At that moment, there was an announcement from the school over the loudspeaker. "Hello, hello. Greetings, students. I am Principal Ji Hoa. I will now read an announcement about the good deeds of our school's students." People immediately started discussing, what kind of good deed is so significant that the principal has to read the announcement personally? That's right, who is the person being praised? The principal continued, "Students, please quiet down. Next, the statement will be delivered by Chairman Gui Wenjiao, a renowned figure in the business community. He will recount the incident for everyone." Cho Jia heard his name and raised his eyebrows, guessing the matter. The students were still gossiping, good people, good deeds. Who was it after all? Could you make Gui personally announce? He spoke slowly, "Hello everyone, I'm Gui Wenjiao. I'm sorry to interrupt the students' recess, but last week something happened that made me appreciate two of our students, so I'd love to thank them in front of everyone. Last weekend, my family members met with bad guys. After classmate Cho Jia bravely came to the rescue, the bad guy was arrested yesterday. Classmate Cho Jia was invited to the police department to assist in investigating the case, and his dedication to coordination deserves a reward. As a token of gratitude, I will sponsor a library building for you, and Cho Jia students who have any requests can contact me at any time." Cho Jia heard his name and raised his eyebrows, guessing the matter. The students were still gossiping, good people, good deeds. Who was it after all? Could you make Gue personally announce? He spoke slowly. Hello everyone, I'm Gue Wenjiao. I'm sorry to interrupt the students' recess, but last week something happened that made me appreciate two of our students, so I'd love to thank them in front of everyone. Last weekend, my family members met with bad guys. After classmate Cho Jia bravely came to the rescue, the bad guy was arrested yesterday. Classmate Cho Jia was invited to the police department to assist in investigating the case, and his dedication to coordination deserves a reward. As a token of gratitude, I will sponsor a library building for you and student Cho Jia. Who have any requests can contact me at any time. After hearing the story, people whispered among themselves, look at those glasses-wearing guys, prejudice against appearances must have led to a different view. Actually, Cho Jia is quite righteous. Last year, when another school came to cause trouble, it was Cho Jia who drove them away. In this regard, he earns admiration. Yes, that's the class of the wealthy. At this moment, a teacher approached and said, Cho Jia, come to the principal's office for a moment. Cho Jia thought that refusing in front of everyone would only lead to more gossip. But if Shinku heard this sound, she would worry. As Cho Jia stepped out, Mr. Gue was standing at the door to greet him. People began to whisper again, oh my, Mr. Gue himself came to the door to greet him. This treatment is really good. Yes, Cho Jia's luck is also quite good. But why do I feel like Cho Jia doesn't seem very happy? At this time, Mr. Gue said, can the announcement just now please you at all? Mainly because I was a student who was taken away by the police, which caused a really bad influence. The fact that I did this would have changed people's view of me. They won't talk about you like they used to in the future. Cho Jia said, I don't need others to change their view of me. I won't appreciate you for that. Mr. Gue pleaded softly, I know you hate me because of your mother's story, but I didn't know she was pregnant that year. Now that I know of your existence, I just want to make it up to you a little bit. Cho Jia shouted at him, or does Mr. Gue feel that if she is not pregnant, she may not need to be responsible? My grandmother's family was just an ordinary family, with no bravery to hide any information. That year, if Mr. Gue really wanted to find out about my mother's news, it wasn't difficult for you. But you never searched nor asked. Almost 20 years now suddenly appeared and said you wanted to take me back. You're here visiting someone. I don't know what you're calculating, I can't stop anything you want to do, but you're you, I'm me. The two of us will not have a paternity for the rest of our lives. Stop bothering my friend. Cho Jia walks away, and Gue Tong tells Theo, I don't expect you to accept me right now. But I believe you will accept me. I know you like the girl, I switched classes to you, you can go to class with her later. Well, I don't know if this dad is a good guy or not, but he must be very good and persistent with his goals. At this time, the evening self-study class was over. Cho Jia stood outside the window holding a cigarette. Suddenly Shinku looked up. He hurriedly explained, I don't smoke, just look. Shinku laughed, just looking? Did you look at that cigarette to quit smoking? Cho Jia immediately embraced her, causing Shinku to blush and ask, what do you want to do? Cho Jia swallowed nervously and said, don't glare at me. Cho Jia secretly thought that he obviously wanted to kiss her, so he decided to do it right away. But unexpectedly, he lifted her up and said, I want to take you to a place where no one is around, and then punch you. Shinku wondered why he was carrying her out so gently when his words were quite different. Cho Jia asked if he needed to bring his backpack, but she said it wasn't necessary because she had finished all her homework. They just needed to lock the windows and the door when leaving. Cho Jia, in the future, try to smoke less, okay? She softly said. I've already quit, haven't smoked for days, Cho replied solemnly. You don't need to quit for me, quitting smoking can be uncomfortable. My father used to smoke, but he wasn't addicted. Only occasionally, when he faced difficult problems at work, did he smoke a cigarette. You just need to avoid making smoking a habit, smoking less is enough. She said gently. Although smoking is cool, I advise young people to limit smoking because it will make your breath smell bad, especially when you're with someone you like. Cho Jia thought to himself, she didn't blame me, didn't tell me to quit smoking immediately, just said quitting would be uncomfortable, smoking less would be fine. She's truly gentle, she really thinks for me. Cho Jia hugged Xingke tightly and whispered, are you the little angel that God sent to save me? She looked up and said, yes, I'm a little angel with wings, so you have to hold on tightly, or else I'll fly away. Hold on tightly, I'll definitely hold on tightly for the rest of my life, you won't be able to fly away, he quickly affirmed. Xingke continued, that's right. What was Mr. Gui announcing today? Cho Jia remembered that the thing his mother regretted most in her life was meeting Gui Wen Jiao. Without him, how could his mother be so sad? Cho Jia sighed and said to her, Mr. Gui used to be a friend of my mother's. That day, after I met him at the police station, he understood the whole situation. Maybe he felt that my reputation at school was too poor and wanted to help me out. Xingke held his hand and said, Cho Jia, no matter who or what you encounter in the future, I will always be by your side. Our Xingxing is truly a little angel. Right, Xingku. Today I seriously listened to the lecture, Cho Jia proudly boasted. Really? What did you hear? Could you understand during class? She asked in surprise. Of course, I understood. Today we learned about math functions, gravitational acceleration in physics, and in English, we practiced writing single words. I even wrote with correct grammar, he replied. Xingke told Cho Jia, Jia, bend down, then she leaned close to his hand. My Jia is so awesome. Promising, diligent in studying, really serious. Surprisingly, Cho Jia hugged her and softly kissed her. Is that okay? Xingke pushed him away and quickly ran off. Cho Jia shouted, if you don't want to, then forget it. Why run, then chased after her, easily lifting her up decisively, dare to run more. Can't run anymore? No, no more running, please. Put me down quickly, Xingke begged. They were watching a romantic drama with cute lines, don't kiss, no kissing. He demanded to carry her and kiss her. The tug of war between them was very tense. Sigh, I didn't expect such behavior from exemplary Asian students. Later, back to reality, Cho Jia said, this week's exams are in May, my total score for all subjects is probably not much higher than one of yours. Xingku honestly said, so, should I submit a blank paper to rank last then? Oh no, that's not what he meant. Don't submit a blank paper, you have to study seriously. He told her to keep studying excellently as usual, and he would also try harder, so that one day he could proudly boast to everyone, have you heard of the school's beauty Yi Zhong? That's my girlfriend, my future wife. Who's the beauty? Don't talk nonsense like that. Later, if someone asks, just say you're my girlfriend, okay? Already your girlfriend. So you still won't let me kiss you? Oh, my brother set a trap, that's too cunning, too cunning. Xingke held his head with both hands and said, look ahead, don't turn to look at me. Cho Jia sighed. Before, you occasionally kissed me, teased me a bit. When will you let me kiss you back? So I can also enjoy a little happiness? Cho complained deceptively and sweetly. You count how many times you kissed me yourself? It's like you've never kissed me before. Moreover, when you kissed, it was even more excessive. Xingke truly acted like a small, innocent pigeon beginning to fall into a trap. Cho Jia said, at that time, my mood wasn't right, kissing felt empty, there was no feeling at all. Xingke immediately protested, no feeling when you kissed me? Ha ha, there was a feeling, definitely a feeling. If there's no feeling like that, then I won't let you kiss me again. Oh, don't say that, I was wrong. Okay, he tried to soothe her. When they arrived at the neighborhood, Cho Jia finally let her down. She asked if she was still angry. Xingke said she didn't want to be mad at him. Then let me give you a kiss. You tease me all the way, didn't kiss me once, I won't be able to sleep tonight. He begged, and she reluctantly agreed to let him go like that? It was only then that Shinka looked up, waiting for a kiss from Cho Jia, but after standing for a while, there was no movement. She blushed and ran off. Cho Jia, you're really hopeless. He stood there bewildered, not knowing where he went wrong. Shinka thought to himself, Cho Jia is truly foolish, bold when he should be, but timid when he wants to be. If you want to kiss, just kiss directly, I won't get angry. Always ask again. While they were still in a tussle and sulking, far away, Gui's assistant called to report to his boss about their performance. The young master has not left Xingmis's side and has taken her back to her place. I couldn't meet her alone. On the other end of the line, Gui said, then don't follow anymore. This brat is smart and careful. Last time, he even knew how to lead the thugs into a dead corner of the camera. Don't let him find out. If it leads to a misunderstanding, it won't be good. Let's take a closer look, shall we? Earlier, I saw him walking, but where did Jia get the motorbike from? He also overheard a couple behind him talking. I don't care, anyway, I don't want to squeeze onto the bus. There are so many mixed smells on there, even worse, this morning I encountered a creepy guy, so annoying. Cho Jia remembered, Shinka said it wasn't uncomfortable on the bus. Wait until I recover from the flu, I'll still ride your motorbike to school. As the weather was gradually getting colder, she couldn't use the motorbike to take her to school anymore. Although Shinka wouldn't pay attention to these things, when Cho Jia passed by the driving school, he silently vowed to always want the best for her. The next day, Cho Jia picked up Shinka to take the exam. Focus on doing well, don't think about anything else. I'll wait outside the exam venue for you to finish. Then I'll take you out for some delicious food. Cho Jia heard some people around talking about, there's a new bakery across the street, it's so good. They say the owner only sells once a week, but there are a lot of people queuing there. Anyway, today is the weekend, let's wait patiently. Cho Jia also went to check it out upon hearing this, and received a queue ticket, with 108 people still in line ahead of him. For love, Cho Jia had to wait until his turn to buy cakes for Shinku. After finishing the exam, when Shinku came over, he whispered, why is he so sleepy like this? It's been a long time since he reincarnated. I always try to get closer to him, want to be by his side, but I never truly understand his world. He looks very tired, but I can't guess why. She raised her hand to Cho Jia's face, intending to touch it, but he suddenly opened his eyes and grabbed her hand. Done with the exam? Yeah. Didn't you sleep last night? She asked softly. Cho Jia replied, I did. Just now, I got a little bored waiting, so I closed my eyes for a moment. Then, you gave me this cake, it's delicious, after a tough exam. Shinku knew he was lying, he looked very tired, like he hadn't slept all night. It's not like a sleepless night thinking about you all night long, is it? When can you give me a kiss? He teased her again. Shinka thought, if he didn't want to say that, she would find another way to help him. Firstly, she planned to find out the truth from Jinghao. She told him, you're so foolish, you'll never be able to kiss me. Cho Jia rubbed her head, are you relying on the fact that I like you to hurt me? She held the box of cakes and asked, what's inside this? While waiting, you saw a lot of people queuing up. You thought it must be very delicious. So you bought a portion. I've researched this place, there's a Western food restaurant opposite, and in front, there's a stir-fry and hot pot restaurant. What would you like to eat for lunch? He asked kindly. Shinka looked at Cho Jia and silently admired what he had just done. She wondered, when I'm taking the exam, will he take the time to queue up to help me buy those delicious cakes? He always uses his own way, trying to get the best for me. She smiled radiantly and said, with you, I'm very happy. Shinku, you deserve to be happy, Cho Jia continued, asking what Shinku wanted to eat for lunch. She suggested going to the stir-fry restaurant across the street. I'll always listen to you, he gently replied. Suddenly, Jinghao called Cho Jia, Jia, there's a new beer bar opened on Hoa Xian Street. After lunch, let's go there for a drink. Chou Jia immediately refused to go, but after some insistence from Jing Hao, she reluctantly agreed, citing that she was busy staying with Xingku. The continued pleas from Jing Hao included remarks like, Jia, you already have a husband, forget about me. It's okay, you and the Jinjing gang can go together. Upon hearing this, Xingku said, if you have something to do, just go ahead and do it, no need to deliberately stay with me. I don't have anything to do. Just now, Jing Hao called, inviting me to hang out, she replied. Excitedly, she asked Jing Hao where they were going, expressing her interest in joining after lunch. She looked at Chou Jia with a sincere expression, is it okay? She thought to herself that she would slowly step into his world, not just staying by his side on the outside. Chou Jia teased Xingke for acting spoiled, yet she seemed comfortable acknowledging it. Sure, I'll take you. But, most of the players there are guys. If you feel bored, just tell me, and I'll take you home first, he said. When they arrived, Jing Hao exclaimed in surprise, isn't that someone saying they wouldn't come? Jia, did you bring your girlfriend along? A friend approached Chou Jia, offering her a cigarette, to which she promptly responded, I've quit, leaving him stunned. Another guy asked, the beauty next to Jia is? Chou Jia quickly replied, she's my girlfriend. Xingku also happily introduced himself, hello, I'm Xingku. They immediately greeted her with enthusiasm, hello, sister-in-law, feel free to get whatever you want to drink. It's the first time we've met you, so I'll treat you. Xingku was a bit confused by the attention, well, thank you in advance. Chou Jia whispered to Xingku, I'll get you a yogurt drink. He nodded in agreement, that's fine. Jing Hao then asked if Chou knew how to play billiards, because it might be boring for her if she didn't. She smiled and waved her hand at Jing Hao, no, I won't be bored. I can see the scene of my friend Chou Jia beating you all up to tears, how can it be boring? Jing Hao quickly turned to Chou Jia, Jia, the landlady is talking, you better manage it. Chou Jia replied, I can't manage it, she always manages me. Jing Hao had to eat his words silently, thinking, I shouldn't have invited these two here today. Chou Jia looked at Xingku and asked if he wanted to play. She said, I don't know how to play this. He offered to teach her, and she agreed immediately, thinking that this might allow them to interact more. Then Xingku took the stick and followed Chou Jia's instructions. First, aim at ball number 7, after a while of careful consideration, then poke the ball while moving and dodging the other balls perfectly. Failure! Chou Jia chuckled and comforted her, it's okay, it's very normal not to hit when you're just starting. The second attempt progressed better as she gently touched ball number 1. Chou Jia encouraged her, it's okay, there's progress this time. Let's try again. The third attempt still involved avoiding the other balls perfectly. She exclaimed in frustration, I won't learn anymore, I can't play this. But Chou Jia didn't give up and wanted to hold her hand to continue teaching. She agreed and said this would be the last time. Chou Jia's hand-holding made her blush. Oh, just playing billiards, why was she so nervous? She turned to Chou Jia without realizing it. Xingke calmly said, don't look at me, look at the shadow. She blushed even more. Finally, with Chou Jia's thorough guidance, the ball hit its target, making a loud sound. How does it feel? Not bad, huh? Xingke put down the stick and said, I still won't learn anymore, you go hang out with Jing Hao. I'll sit on the other side for a while and watch you guys play. Chou Jia looked at her, turned away, and thought that although she often teased him, why was she suddenly so tense today? Was it because there were too many people here? Xingke was sitting when he heard a familiar voice outside, is this the new place you mentioned, Ji Hao? Yes, it is. I've already completed my membership card before. Just mention my name, Ji Hao, and you can play freely here. Upon hearing that name, Xingku immediately remembered the scene of Chou Jia's eldest brother pushing her down the stairs during a dispute over money. She was terrified and uneasy, absolutely unwilling to let Ji Hao see her. If he saw her, he would definitely tell their eldest brother about her and their grandmother moving to Dijing. Seeing her sitting quietly and trembling, Cho Jia worriedly asked, "What's wrong, Xing Xing?" She rushed over, burying her face in Cho Jia's chest to avoid it, saying she wanted to go home but didn't want to go through the main door. "Is there another door here?" she asked softly. With Xing Jihao standing on the other side, she couldn't risk going through. Immediately, Cho Jia took a shirt to cover her head and reassured her, "Don't be afraid, I'll take you home immediately." Once outside, Cho Jia anxiously asked, "Who did you see at the bar just now? Making you so scared?" Xingke decided to conceal the truth and said she didn't see anyone. Cho Jia became even more worried. "You've already been threatened like that, and you're saying nothing happened?" Cho Jia lifted her face, angrily saying, "I'm asking again, what did you see just now? If you want to hide it, I can find the boss myself, check the cameras. By then, I'll find out myself." Xingke recalled the scene of Cho Jia avenging her in a past life. She told Cho Jia, "Don't think like that. The person I saw at the bar just now is my cousin." Cho Jia asked in surprise, "Then why are you so scared of him? Has he ever bullied you?" Xingke thought to himself, "If I keep hiding it, Cho Jia will only worry more. If he does something extreme, irredeemable, it will be bad." So, he decided to tell him part of the story. "Actually, I'm not from Dijing. My grandmother and I moved from Haishang because our eldest brother cheated us out of our house, and even almost hit my grandmother. No one protected us, so we had to move here. The person I met today is our eldest brother's son, Xing Jihao. If he finds out I'm here, he'll definitely tell our eldest brother. Then, my grandmother and I won't have peaceful days anymore. My grandmother is old, I have to protect her." Xingke held Cho Jia's hand to calm him down. "You don't need to worry. They're just greedy for money. As long as I don't pay attention to them, nothing will happen." She thought that in her past life, her soft-heartedness led her to be deceived by their eldest brother, otherwise, she wouldn't have suffered at their hands. In this life, she must completely cut off contact with them. Cho Jia asked, "So where are your parents? Don't they care?" Xingke tearfully said, "When I was young, my father passed away, and then my mother missed him so much that she followed him a few years later. Now, I only have my grandmother. But now, with you, I'm happier than before." He hugged her tightly, comforting her, "Don't be afraid, I'll protect you and grandmother." Cho Jia asked, "Did they ever hit you before?" Xingke lowered her head, recounting how they were just greedy for money. Once they locked her and her grandmother in the house, forcing her grandmother to give them her savings book, but the police arrived so it was fine. After that, they moved to Dijing, and those things were all in the past. Her parents had passed away many years ago, and she had gotten used to her current life. Now with Cho Jia by her side, she was very satisfied. Cho Jia hugged her, thinking, she's really silly, clearly very sad but still trying to comfort herself to find peace. If I can't make her happy in this life, then I'm truly a failure. Xingke told Cho Jia, "You must not do anything extreme, nor anything illegal, understand? I still have to take care of you and grandmother, but rest assured, I won't do anything foolish," he reassured her. She took out a ring and put it on Cho Jia's hand. "I've been wearing this ring for many years. Today, I'll tell you my secret. I've always wanted to tell you that I lost my parents, so I don't want to lose you either. So from now on, whatever you do, you must think of me," she said with sincere eyes. "Okay, from now on, I'll think of Xing Xing in everything I do," he promised. Afterwards, Cho Jia went to the bar, pulled out a cigarette, and asked the owner if they could check the camera from today. "My girlfriend gave me an engagement token, but I lost it. Now she's angry with me. I want to see if it fell in here." The owner gladly accepted the cigarette and said, "Sure, no problem. Sit here and watch. If you need anything, just tell me," as Cho Jia sat seriously in front of the computer screen. Cho Jia leaned into the part where Xingke was trembling with fear, then enlarged the screen and muttered to himself, "You're really Ji Hao, the one from the same family who bullied Xing to the point of forcing her to leave her hometown. How dare you enjoy yourself here?" That night, Cho Jia went back to the bar and waited. Since Ji Hao was out of money, his friends didn't let him come along, so he left angrily, cursing as he went. Cho Jia followed behind and gave him a kick that almost knocked him down. "Who the hell do you think you are to dare to hit me?" As he was about to speak, Cho Jia covered his mouth with his hand and sat on Ji Hao's back, continuously punching his face. Cho Jia silently cursed, "A bunch of scoundrels bullying a girl, what courage! Stealing money from her and living comfortably, you're despicable." Cho Jia was furious and kept hitting him without stopping. Suddenly, he saw the bracelet he had just received, causing Cho Jia to pause. He gave him one last punch before letting go, warning him, "Do more good deeds in the future and stop bullying girls. Otherwise, I'll end you right now." Xingke was calling Jing Hao, "Sorry for bothering you again. I have something to ask you. Did Cho Jia meet a new girl again? Besides accompanying me every day, does he also go out with her?" She thought that if she directly asked what Cho Jia did last night, Jing Hao would definitely hide everything for him. Indeed, her indirect approach was effective with the honest young man Jing Hao, who immediately became uncomfortable. "What are you thinking? My Jia is not like that. Every day, if he's not with you, he's out making money. He doesn't even have time to sleep, let alone go out with someone else." Xingke asked in surprise, "What is he doing to make money and where?" Jing Hao, annoyed by her earlier suspicion, calmly revealed that Cho Jia helped someone repair cars at a car dealership. The owner is a world-famous professional racer. All his cars are repaired by Cho Jia's man. Lately, he's been so busy that they only give him cars to repair. Jia is so busy that he hasn't slept for 2 days. Xingke was extremely shocked. He hadn't slept for 2 days, risking his life like that? Why, Jia said he needs to make money urgently to buy a car before winter. Recently, he's been studying for his driver's license, practicing on his phone whenever he's free. Xingke immediately thought, does he want to buy a car urgently because of her? She remembered the crowded scene on the bus before. Cho Jia said she wouldn't have to take the bus forever. She wondered, why would he risk his life like this when she truly didn't care about those things? Cho Jia leaned into the part where Xingke was trembling with fear, then enlarged the screen and muttered to himself, "You're really Ji Hao, the one from the same family who bullied Xing to the point of forcing her to leave her hometown. How dare you enjoy yourself here?" That night, Cho Jia went back to the bar and waited. Since Ji Hao was out of money, his friends didn't let him come along, so he left angrily, cursing as he went. Cho Jia followed behind and gave him a kick that almost knocked him down. "Who the hell do you think you are to dare to hit me?" As he was about to speak, Cho Jia covered his mouth with his hand and sat on Ji Hao's back, continuously punching his face. Cho Jia silently cursed, "A bunch of scoundrels bullying a girl, what courage! Stealing money from her and living comfortably, you're despicable." Cho Jia was furious and kept hitting him without stopping. Suddenly, he saw the bracelet he had just received, causing Cho Jia to pause. He gave him one last punch before letting go, warning him, "Do more good deeds in the future and stop bullying girls. Otherwise, I'll end you right now." Xingke was calling Jing Hao, "Sorry for bothering you again. I have something to ask you. Did Cho Jia meet a new girl again? Besides accompanying me every day, does he also go out with her?" She thought that if she directly asked what Cho Jia did last night, Jing Hao would definitely hide everything for him. Indeed, her indirect approach was effective with the honest young man Jing Hao, who immediately became uncomfortable. "What are you thinking? My Jia is not like that. Every day, if he's not with you, he's out making money. He doesn't even have time to sleep, let alone go out with someone else." Xingke asked in surprise, "What is he doing to make money and where?" Jing Hao, annoyed by her earlier suspicion, calmly revealed that Cho Jia helped someone repair cars at a car dealership. The owner is a world-famous professional racer. All his cars are repaired by Cho Jie's man. Lately, he's been so busy that they only give him cars to repair. Jia is so busy that he hasn't slept for 2 days. Shinku was extremely shocked. He hadn't slept for 2 days, risking his life like that? Why? Jia said he needs to make money urgently to buy a car before winter. Recently, he's been studying for his driver's license, practicing on his phone whenever he's free. Shinku immediately thought, does he want to buy a car urgently because of her? She remembered the crowded scene on the bus before. Cho Jia said she wouldn't have to take the bus forever. She wondered, why would he risk his life like this when she truly didn't care about those things? At the car garage, Jinghao asked, hasn't Jia talked to you about these things yet? He wouldn't tell me, Shinku sighed. Jinghao's mind woke up after being deceived. Only now did he understand and spill everything. It's over, I've been tricked. Then he turned to Cho Jia, with a guilty look. Your little princess is really bad, she tricked me. Just now she called asking what you were doing tonight, and I accidentally blurted everything out. I said you hadn't slept for 2 days, and she was really upset after hearing it. Then Jinghao handed the phone to Cho Jia. Cho Jia took it and said, don't tell her these things anymore, she'll worry. Jinghao waved his hand in frustration. I don't want to tell her either, but she tricked me. Hearing this, Shinku immediately asked, what are you doing? What are you thinking about? Of course, I'm thinking about holding Xingxing to sleep, Cho replied. Shinku was not in the mood to joke at this moment. She was quite angry, making Jia panic and quickly coax her. Of course, everything is true. I wouldn't dare lie to you. She asked again, did you sleep well last night? The night before, did you sleep well? Cho Jia, out of ways to cope, pleaded, I'm sorry, don't be angry. I won't hide anything from you anymore. Humph, I'm already angry, she snapped. Then shall I kneel by your bed all night to apologize to you, is that okay? Sweet words indeed had a great effect on princesses. Even Snow White died from eating an apple, let alone Shinku being tempted by these honeyed words. She laughed, who asked you to kneel, and besides, if you come into my house at this hour, my grandma will treat you like a thief and beat you to death. Cho Jia said, if it means calming Xingxing down, then beating me to death is worth it. Do you want to die? If you die, what about me? You should treat yourself better, you're only 19, we have a long future ahead of us. You have plenty of time to make money. I heard Jinghao say you haven't slept for 2 days, I'm really upset. I hope my presence brings you joy, not more pressure and burdens in life. I really don't care how you get to school, or about any material things. I only care about whether you're peaceful and happy every day. Xingker was truly a mature and kind-hearted girl. Xingxing, you're not a burden, you're not putting pressure on me either. Before I met you, I had no goals. I was directionless, living meaningless days. But now I have direction and goals. I want a good future with you. It's not a burden, it's the responsibility of a man. With you, everything feels happier than before. And don't listen to Jinghao's nonsense, I have limits, I won't let myself get exhausted. If I'm exhausted, how can I carry you in the future? Don't tire yourself out, if you do, I'll be really heartbroken. It's not too late now, I have to prepare to sleep. Remember to rest early after turning off the phone, he said, touched by his sincere words. These words sounded so gentle. Cho Jia lit a cigarette and sat in contemplation, wanting to protect her, become her support. He couldn't use extreme methods like this anymore. If something happened to him later, who else could take care of her? Perhaps he should make an effort to become stronger, so that he could truly become her support. At this moment, Jinghao came out and sat down, asking, "What's wrong with you today? Why do you look so pensive after a while of silence?" Cho Jia said, "Tomorrow is my last day of school. I'm dropping out. While I'm at school, you help me watch over Xingxing, okay?" Jinghao was surprised. What happened? Why did you suddenly decide to drop out? Xingxing doesn't have parents. she and her grandma have no one to rely on. They were even bullied by their own relatives to the point of having to leave their hometown. So I have to become a support for both of them. Continuing school is just a waste of time for me. With this time, I can already do a lot of things. Wow! This is the maturity of a 19-year-old man, how naive. So what do you want to do after dropping out? Hao asked. I want to start my own business, work on fixing cars. Anyway, I didn't go to school much before, so I might as well drop out decisively now, Cho Jia said seriously. Does Xingku agree? I see she cares a lot about you. If you don't go to school anymore, she'll be very sad, Hao said. I won't tell her clearly, Cho Jia replied. Anyway, I also want to drop out, Cho Jia said. I want to be in the same class as her for a day, see what she's like in class. I think she'll be very obedient, very diligent. Alright, On Jia. If you want to drop out, I'll drop out with you. Anyway, whatever you do, I'll follow you, Hao said. Cho Jia was surprised and said, don't let me influence you, I don't know how things will turn out in the future. Besides, if things don't work out later, you and I might not even have a bun to eat together. Then I'll follow you to the ends of the earth. Wherever you go, I'll be there, Hao said. The next morning, Cho Jia picked up Xingke for school. As soon as they met, she ran to hug him, saying, guess what delicious treat I have for you today, if you answer correctly, you'll get a reward. Cho Jia immediately said, it's not a bun, and his answer was dumplings. Xingke cheered, I guessed it right. So, what's the reward? Can I choose the reward myself? Before she could ask, he let go of her and unexpectedly pulled out a bracelet and put it on her wrist. Why suddenly give me a bracelet? She asked, surprised by this gift. You've kept your bracelet for many years, and now you're giving it to me. I can't let your wrist be bare, you give me the bracelet so that I can remember you more in the future. Xing also has to look at the bracelet to remember me more, he explained. Thank you for your kindness, I'll remember you more in the future, she happily accepted it. When they arrived at class, Cho Jia said, I'm going to study with Xingke. At this point, the teacher also announced to the class, quickly take your seats in your assigned positions. I have something to say. Starting today, Cho Jia, Jing Hao, and Shen Jing will transfer to our class to study with you. I hope you can unite and progress together. In addition, there will be changes in seating arrangements. The class monitor has posted the seating chart on the wall next to the blackboard. Please change your seats before the first lesson. The seating arrangement for the class members changed as follows. Wu and Mai Bing Xingku and Cho Jia Jinghao and Shinjing Xingku asked Cho Jia in surprise, did you talk to the teacher about transferring classes? If not, why did she suddenly move all of you to our class? Cho Jia whispered teasingly, it's probably because of the I like you thing being too obvious, so the teachers found out and moved us all here. Embarrassed, she said quietly, you say that, but if others hear it, they'll start gossiping about you. I don't care what they say, Cho Jia replied. Today, the first class was an English lesson. Xingke placed his book on the table, and when Xingke opened her notebook, she asked in surprise, why is your notebook so clean? Cho Jia calmly replied, is being clean not good? I like cleanliness, so clean that there's not a single word. Have you never opened your notebook before? She asked incredulously. Who said I've never opened it? Clearly, I opened it once, when the bell rang for the first lesson, Cho Jia whispered to Xingku. Ah, just as he imagined, she looked very obedient and serious in class. If he could always be in the same class as her, that would be great. Suddenly, Xingke passed a note to Cho Jia that read, stop looking, focus on listening to the lecture. Cho Jia nodded okay, and stopped looking. After a while, Xingke poked him and told him to focus on listening and not sleep. But Cho Jia replied, don't want to listen? Listening to this lecture makes me even sleepier. You focus on listening, don't worry about me, he said dejectedly. Xingke said, how can I not worry about you? Then she thought to herself, let this go for now, there's plenty of time in the future. As long as we're in the same class, I'll always find a way to help him study. Now it was self-study time in the evening. She patiently explained the lesson to him. Look, this secondary road is drawn from the center. Is this the answer? Cho Jia said, I probably don't understand anything, and if I keep listening, my brain will explode. But Shinku said, nope. Cho Jia wrote on the paper, I'm diligently listening to the lecture, so can Shinku give me a kiss? With a sly look on his face. She immediately kicked him and refused. If you don't behave properly, I can be even more aggressive. I'll punish you. Suddenly, the classroom lost power, and the room went dark. Everyone hurriedly urged each other to run out if the power comes back on, or else we'll be stuck here studying again. Seizing the opportunity, Cho Jia kissed Shinku fiercely, then asked Xingxing how she wanted to punish him. You haven't finished talking yet, continue, I'll listen closely, she said. Just as Shinku was about to scold him, Cho Jia covered her mouth and whispered, speak softly, or others will hear. Now Jinghao shouted, why aren't you all leaving? If the power comes back on later, you'll be detained for further studying? Rare opportunities are hard to find, you should leave quickly. All the students happily responded, anyway, it's the last self-study session. Let's leave quickly, we can still watch movies at home. Cho Jia told Shinku, let's go, but Shinku doesn't want to leave because everyone is leaving at once, and it's crowded. Shinku turned on the LED light of her phone and said, let me finish explaining the math problem from earlier, then we'll leave. After a while, Shinku asked, do you understand now? Cho Jia still shook her head, saying he didn't understand. Are you trying to kiss me? That's why you didn't listen to anything? You caught me, Cho laughed honestly. On the way back, Shinku said, Cho Jia, don't do that in front of other students in the future. If they see it, they will misunderstand you. So Xingxing's point was that as long as she didn't do it in class in front of other students, it would be fine. Is that right? Before she could refuse, Cho Jia immediately hugged her and kissed her freely. A while later, Shinku looked suspiciously at Cho Jia and asked, you're acting strange today. Usually, you ask if you can kiss first, right? Cho Jia cut in, strange? Maybe. I did it today because I wanted to leave you with some deep memories at school. I'm afraid that if I'm not here, you'll gradually forget about me. Shinku asked in surprise, not here? Where do you want to go? He slowly replied, before, I used to ask for permission to kiss you before doing it, because I was afraid that one day you would regret being intimate with me. Anyway, you're still young. In the future, you'll go to university and find a good job. Maybe you'll meet many better men. So I want you to choose something better. But now that I suddenly have to leave, I realize I'm not as great as I thought I was. I'm even selfish wanting to possess you completely before leaving. Shinku asked anxiously, what's wrong with you today? Did something happen? You haven't told me where you want to go yet. Cho Jia said, I didn't understand anything in class today. Not just today, I don't understand in any of the other classes either. You've seen it yourself. I feel sleepy just listening, and I struggle through every class. Instead of wasting time like this, I might as well do something else. So I've decided to drop out of school, stop studying. Anyway, I can't pass the university entrance exam, so it's better to start working early. Continuing to stay in school is just a waste of time. Shinku suddenly thought that she wanted to drop out of school because she found out about everything at home, so she wanted to drop out to work. Today she was just feeling fed up with school. Maybe it's because she wants me to see that she doesn't like going to school. Then she allows herself to drop out. Cho Jia, besides being academically excellent and beautiful, also understands the psychology of others very well. Cho Jia hugged her and said, even if I drop out, I'll still come to pick you up every day to go to school. Do you mind if someone else enjoys your presence at school? Shinku said, I don't want you to drop out of school, is it because of me? Cho Jia turned away, avoiding, not because of you, I just don't want to go to school anymore. Look at me, do I look like someone who enjoys studying? I feel sleepy as soon as I listen to the lecture, and I often get scolded by the teachers during class. I find it quite uncomfortable. That's why I want to drop out. Shinka teared up, not believing what she just said. Being scolded by teachers isn't something that happened just yesterday or the day before. Not understanding the lecture isn't something that just happened today. Why did you suddenly want to drop out and work after finding out about my family situation? Last night I told you, you're only 19 years old, don't rush like this. We can mature slowly, don't force yourself too much, okay? Cho Jia thought silently that the current him has nothing, can't be a support for her, so she can only push herself to work faster. Alright, forget it, about school, I've made up my mind, today, I'll only tell you once. Then she held Shinka's hand and said, let's go, I'll take you home. Unexpectedly, she pushed Cho Jia's hand away. If you want to drop out, don't hold my hand anymore, don't take me to school anymore in the future, I won't pay attention to you anymore. Xing, you have to be rational, I can't pass the university entrance exam. Even if I don't work this year, I'll have to work next year. Don't resist the truth like that, okay? Cho Jia hugged her and comforted her. She cried, I don't want to be rational, I just want you. You want to drop out, I disagree. She thought that the school years were the most beautiful time of one's life. Previously, he had missed out on many stages of his life and didn't want to regret it again. She said, I'm living very well now, don't leave me behind, don't think of anything else in front of me. You, like this, I'm not happy at all, but I feel very sad and uncomfortable. The future is long, let's just take it slowly, can we not rush this year? Cho Jia immediately comforted her, telling her not to cry anymore. Shinka said, don't skip school anymore, then I won't cry either. You deliberately made me cry, didn't you? He asked her. Yes, crying loud is intentional, but not wanting you to drop out is real. Please don't drop out, can you stay with me at school? She pleaded. After thinking for a while, Cho Jia said, all right. Shinka then happily put his arm around Cho Jia's shoulder and said, great, then we can continue being desk mates. Cho Jia brought her back, taking a few steps and meeting Jinghao on the way. Jinghao said to turn back to get the books to avoid having to go to school tomorrow. Shinka looked at Jinghao with surprise. Cho Jia immediately said, no need to get them now. Wait a moment, I'll explain to you later, as she winked at Jinghao signaling him to help her get the car. Jinghao took the keys, saying, sure. After Jinghao left, Cho Jia said to Shinku, school is over early today, can I carry you back? Shinku refused, if you want to stay longer, we can hold hands and go back together. Otherwise, carrying me will make you tired. But Cho Jia still carried her, saying, it's okay, I'll hold you in my heart, I'll feel more reassured. She asked, did Cho Jia lie about her age? You don't seem like a 19-year-old boy at all, more like an old man. Cho Jia turned her head, say that again? What do I look like, an old man? Your profound thoughts don't match your age. You always think a lot, then feel discouraged inside, then digest those negative thoughts on your own. Does my Jia feel safe? So, whenever you encounter something you want to grasp, you'll eagerly want to prove yourself, right? She whispered in his ear. Cho Jia thought from childhood to adulthood, he had always been alone. To survive, he deliberately pretended to be someone not easily teased. Only then would they fear him and dare not bully him. Shinku told Cho Jia again, you must remember, the girl behind you, she never needs you to use any material things to keep her, nor do you have to go ahead and shield her from the rain and wind, because she just wants to experience the good things in this world with you. She hopes that every day you will be happy. Cho Jia said, is your mouth coated with honey? Why is it so sweet? Shinka leaned close to her mouth, saying, I don't know either, or maybe you should try it, but then she regretted it. There were still many people around here kissing each other, it wouldn't be good if people started gossiping, so she said, forget it. Let's wait until there's no one around, then I'll let you try. Shinka said, I want you to continue studying at school not because you have to take the college entrance exam, so you don't need to create too much pressure for yourself. I want to accompany you until the end of high school. Surprisingly, Cho Jia hugged her face tightly and kissed her fiercely. Today, Xing is so talkative, like an old lady, she exclaimed. Who said anything about an old lady? Who said anything about being talkative? Cho Jia playfully retorted. Then, Cho Jia locked her lips with another kiss, such a simple way to shut up a woman. Not an old lady, but a little fairy. Xingku has to be verbose because he cares about me. I understand. Xingku hasn't gone home yet, so he can't go anymore, he said. Xingku turned away. Then I'll go. Be safe going home, he said. Cho Jia turned back to talk to Jinghao. He exclaimed in surprise, What? On Jia, you're not dropping out anymore? I said I would drop out, but Xing cried like rain, cried to the point that I felt heartbroken. How could I drop out after that? Cho Jia explained to his friend. Had Miss Xingku cried for a long time? Hao asked. Cho Jia amended slightly, saying, Not really for a long time, just cried loudly. Jinghao burst into laughter. Crying a few words made you feel heartbroken. On Jia, you're too easy to control. What else can you do? Who said I fell into her hands? He said sadly. Seeing Cho Jia searching, Jinghao asked, What are you looking for here, on Jia? Looking for textbooks for grades 10 and 11. I've missed too many classes, so now I have to catch up. I can't waste time at school anymore, or she'll be very disappointed, he explained. Do you still plan to buy a car? It's too cold in winter, you can't let her freeze, Hao asked. I have a driving test scheduled for next week, around November. I can get my license then. After getting my license, I'll buy a car right away, Cho said confidently. Oh, then take this card, Jinghao said, offering his card. If you want to buy a car, I have some money here, not much, but you can use it. Cho Jia immediately declined. I don't need it, you take it back. Don't make it difficult for me. Now I don't need it either. If you want to be my brother, just take it and use it. Consider it as me repaying the medicine money for my mother back then, Hao said seriously. Cho Jia was irritated. I don't need that money, I'll give it to your mother. What repayment? Jinghao chuckled, then consider this money as a gift from me to your future sister-in-law or as pre-marriage congratulations. I'm giving you this money in advance, don't ask me for money later. I'm leaving now. Cho Jia pulled Jinghao back. Take the card and go, she said, don't you consider me your brother anymore? Hao said seriously, if my mother had been ill that year, I wouldn't take your money. How would you feel then? Cho Jia explained that these two matters were inherently different. One was about saving lives, the other was about receiving congratulatory money. Jinghao sighed and said, On Jia, for the last time, do you want this card? Cho Jia thought, seeing him like this, if I don't take the card today, he'll surely be very sad. If that's the case, I'll just take it now and think of a way to return it to him later. So, Cho Jia took the card. Okay, I'll take this bank card, she said. Jinghao happily said, that's how brothers are supposed to be. The next day, Xingku said that he had missed too many classes before and if he wanted to learn English, they would have to start from the basics. People around noticed and talked everywhere. Cho Jia is using his free time to catch up on English. Is that still the Cho Jia I know? This afternoon, I saw him actively seeking out Xingku to catch up on 10th grade math as well. He seems very diligent. Whenever he doesn't understand something, he actively asks for help right away. Is this the power of love? Can it make a rebellious boy actively study? Xingku is really good too. At this moment, Jinjing arrived and said, On Jia, it's rare to have a PE class, let's play basketball for a while. Cho Jia refused to go because he had to study English here, which shocked Jinghao, who exclaimed, On Jia. You're so diligent, you're even skipping PE class? Xingku told Cho Jia, you can go play with them for a while, studying needs to be combined with rest to be effective. The supreme command of the queen made the slave of the heart unable to disobey, so Cho immediately went to the gym, but not before instructing, "I'll go play with them for a while. If anything happens, just call me." As Cho Jia left, Shu Ji immediately approached her. Shinka stood up to keep some distance and asked, "What's up?" Shu Ji said, "This weekend, our school will send 2 students to participate in a citywide reading contest. The teacher has chosen me. She also told me to choose one more companion. I've recommended you. I told the homeroom teacher about it at noon. Maybe she'll talk to you in the next class." Shinka spoke reproachfully. "Shouldn't you have asked for my opinion first, before telling the homeroom teacher? You're deciding on my behalf. It's making me uncomfortable." Shinka thought to himself, "If I participate in this competition with him, we'll surely practice together more often. I don't want Cho Jia to worry about these things anymore. I have to go for a health checkup with grandma this weekend. I don't have time for these activities." Shu Ji continued, "There will be a reward if we win. If we win, I won't take the prize money. I'll give it all to you. I don't want to participate in this contest, nor do I need that prize money. So, this is also an opportunity. This weekend, I want to go with you, Shinku." As the story ended, Shinku turned back to see Cho Jia standing nearby. She asked if he wasn't playing basketball anymore. Cho Jia looked at Shu Ji and said, "What else is there to play?" Then she whispered to Shinku, "I'm afraid if we keep playing, someone might steal my future wife." She then rushed off to find Shu Ji to discuss the school's reading contest. Cho Jia then said she was thirsty and wanted to drink water. There was some filtered water on the other table that the PE teacher bought for them, and he would go get a bottle for her. Cho Jia asked, "Don't you already have some?" The jealousy of children seemed quite intense. Shu Ji looked at her uncomfortably. She told Cho Jia, "Don't drink all of mine." Shu Ji turned back to Shinku and asked, "Do you still want to drink this water?" Shinku turned back and said, "Why not? Originally, it was mine." Shu Ji hesitantly asked herself, "Is it okay for 2 people to drink from the same bottle?" Cho Jia stopped drinking and asked, "What's yours?" Shinku said, "Both the water and you belong to me. Hand me the water." Cho Jia glanced at Shu Ji and smirked, then patted Shinku's head, satisfied with successfully asserting ownership. "You guys, continue your conversation. I'll go get some water over here. As for the reading contest, if you want to go, then go. I'll pick you up when it's time." Shinku replied, "No need, I don't plan to go to the reading contest right now." Jinghao called out from outside the basketball court, so Cho Jia also went out. Shu Ji asked Shinku, "Are you close with Cho Jia?" Shu Ji spoke loudly as if she wanted Cho Jia to hear. "Cho Jia and I are secretly in love, don't tell the teachers," she said. "You with someone like Cho Jia?" Shu Ji inquired curiously. Shinku replied sharply, "If you want to continue talking about the reading contest, feel free. But if you want to speak ill of my boyfriend, then I'll be mad." Shinku said, "I will definitely let you see me with Cho Jia." "Who fits you better?" he said firmly. She remembered that after she rejected Shu Ji in her past life, he didn't come looking for her anymore. Why is it different this time? She temporarily set aside those thoughts, not wanting to dwell on them anymore. After all, she had already made it clear to him. Then she walked over and asked her desk mate, "Is the water good?" "Not as good as the bottle of water in Shinku's hand." "Ha ha. Even if it's good, I won't let you drink it anymore. This bottle is almost empty," she said. Cho Jia asked, "What day is the reading contest you guys were talking about? I'll take you there when the time comes." "Do you think I'll go?" Without hesitation, Cho Jia replied, "Of course, why wouldn't you? It's a good opportunity. But I don't want to go. I'll wait for the homeroom teacher to come find me, and I'll come up with a suitable excuse to decline, because I want to make Cho Jia feel secure about Shu Ji." If it were someone else today, maybe I would participate, but not Shuji. For example, there's a girl who knows you already have a girlfriend but still pursues you. She wants to be alone with you to do some things. If I knew about this, I would definitely feel uncomfortable. If I cooperate with Shuji in doing something, even if you don't say it, you'll feel sad. I don't want to make you sad in our relationship, so I have to know how to refuse. I have to make the other person feel safe. She said. And Cho replied. Don't worry, besides you, I won't get close to any other girl, I won't make you sad either. At this time, it was Saturday noon, and the driving instructor said, now you've passed one lesson. In the future, I can help you arrange your schedule for the second lesson. Do you want to practice during the day or in the evening? If it's during the day, we can start as early as 6 o'clock in the morning. Cho Jia replied, all right, I'll come for the morning sessions. I want to have private lessons with you, I don't want to wait in line, is that okay? To serve you privately like that, you'll need to pay an additional 500 yuan, the instructor said. Okay, I'll pay you when the time comes. You can hand over the car to me for practice, Cho Jia said. After that, she called Shinku to let him know she's almost done with her task. Shinku asked, what were you doing this morning? Cho Jia replied, I was doing something very important. Once I'm done, I'll tell you about it. In the afternoon, can you go out and play? 2 days ago, you mentioned to Woo Woo that it had been many years since you last went to the amusement park. Can I take you there this afternoon? She immediately thought that she only said one sentence to Woo Woo at that time, she didn't expect him to always remember it, she felt much warmer in her heart. She said she was afraid she couldn't this afternoon, because she had to go to the big supermarket at the head of the neighborhood with her grandmother to buy food like rice noodles, oil, salt, etc. My grandmother is old, I can't let her carry heavy things. Cho Jia suddenly felt sorry for the little girl and asked if these things were all brought home by her before. Normally, the things my family buys are small packages that aren't too heavy, I can carry them myself. Cho Jia thought she was so kind-hearted. Normally, she must often help her grandmother with a lot of household chores. Even if there are things she can't do, she will still try to do them. Cho Jia asked, so what time are you preparing to go to the supermarket? Now. My grandmother is taking a nap. I should be able to go out around 2 o'clock. All right, take a rest then. Go out in half an hour, Cho instructed. Shinku asked in surprise, why? You'll know in a moment. Later, the grandmother said, today, we bought a lot of things. Later, I'll make a delicious dish for you to eat. Surprised, she saw Cho Jia. She secretly wondered why he was wearing a supermarket uniform. At this moment, Cho Jia politely approached and said, hello, grandmother. Do you need me to deliver the goods to your house? Today, the supermarket we work for is doing activities. Anyone who comes to buy can be delivered to their home. I am a student doing part-time work. Would you like me to take your order, or help me compile the list? Are you a student working part-time? Isn't it too hard? Shinka's grandmother asked kindly. It's usually not too hard, he replied. Shinku introduced, he's a classmate of mine. Shall we help him compile the list? Looking at Cho Jia with compassion, seeing him working part-time while studying in 12th grade, he was also a child living not so easily. Therefore, she said, all right. How much is the delivery fee? Tell me. Grandma, it's okay. We don't charge any fees. Just give Shinku a good review. We've reached our sales target today. We just need one good review on the app. After finishing, I can go home, Cho said, showing himself to be a good grandson to the old lady. The grandmother smiled kindly and said, all right, thank you. Shinku suggested that she help him carry some of the items. No need, classmate. You go and guide Grandma, Cho refused and carried all the items upstairs to help her. Upon entering the house, the grandmother told Cho Jia to drink a glass of water before leaving. There was nothing else to drink in the house except for water and cow's milk. She asked him which one he wanted. Cho Jia said, "I'm not thirsty, thank you," then asked Shinku where these items were kept. Afterwards, Cho Jia took them down to the kitchen to store them, then discovered that the faucet was broken. This scene is quite humane, and viewers should not think of typical Japanese movies. Shinku said that the repairman in this area had gone to the countryside and would only be back tomorrow. "I can't tighten this. Otherwise, I could have done it myself," she explained. Cho Jia turned to ask, "Why didn't you tell me?" Shinku asked in surprise, "Do you know how to fix this?" "I do, even if I didn't, I would think of a way to help you solve it," he said. Shinku then said, "Actually, it's okay. The repairman will be here in 2 days." Suddenly, his grandmother hurried over and did both tasks, telling Shinku, "Get some apples for your friend to eat. Here are the apples I just peeled. If you don't want to drink water, eat a few apples." Cho hesitated with this reception. Grandma is too kind. I saw that the faucet in the house was broken. Since I don't have anything urgent to do at the moment, let me help you replace it. This is bothering you too much. The repairman will be here tomorrow, the old lady said hastily. Cho Jia said, "It's okay, it's not a bother at all. Normally, Shinku helps us classmates learn a little extra knowledge at school. Consider this as a thank you to him." Shinku also bragged to his grandmother that Cho Jia knows how to do a lot of things. "You can trust him." The grandmother's face lit up with satisfaction, saying, "All right, you've worked hard. It's no trouble at all, Grandma." "It's just a small matter," he politely replied. She looked at Cho Jia, praising the polite young man, who also appeared very handsome. He was in 12th grade and still studying and working. Indeed, he was a good child. Half an hour later, Cho Jia said, "It should be fine now. Just now, I tried to turn on the faucet several times and didn't see any water leaking. Today, I'm really thankful to you for helping my 2 grandmothers with so many things like that," she said happily, thanking his friend. "Grandma is too kind. Friends should help each other," he replied. "That's right, young man, what's your name?" "My last name is Cho, and my name is Jia," he replied. The grandmother praised the name as being very good. Shinku suggested softly, "It's almost 5 o'clock. How about we ask him to stay for dinner? He helped carry our things today and even helped fix the faucet." The grandmother tactfully agreed immediately, smiling and saying, "Both of you are classmates. If we let him go like this, you'll feel guilty, won't you? All right, Cho Jia, stay for dinner. Just in time, I also bought a lot of things today. Tonight, I'll make a delicious dish for you 2 to eat." The warm and happy dinner of the small family proceeded quickly amid laughter and conversation. After dinner, Shinku brought the dishes down to wash, then Cho Jia followed along and begged to wash the dishes with her, but his grandmother went downstairs to the kitchen and pulled him aside to whisper, "I see you as a good child. I have a somewhat unreasonable request. My granddaughter and I just moved to Dijing not long ago. She loves me very much, so she only tells me good things. She just transferred to a new school and doesn't have any friends. I'm afraid she'll be bullied or feel lonely at school without telling me." Cho Jia understood the implied request from his grandmother, a task he had been doing well. He turned to look at Shinku with a hint of sadness and thought, has he been keeping all these worries to himself for so many years, not telling his grandmother anything? His grandmother gave him her phone number and said, "If my granddaughter is bullied at school or something happens, bother him to tell me." Cho Jia accepted and said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of Shinku in the future, making sure no one bullies her. If anyone bullies her, I'll tell you right away." The grandmother felt relieved in her heart after these past worries, saying, "Don't tell my granddaughter about this. Otherwise, she'll blame me for many things." "Yes, I won't tell her," he promised seriously. Shinka watched from afar the conversation between Cho and his grandmother, feeling happy in his heart, thinking, Grandma seems to really like Cho Jia. In the future, I have to create more opportunities for Cho Jia to talk to her more. As she gets older, she will notice more of Cho Jia's merits and feel that he is worthy of entrusting her granddaughter's entire life to him. Today's video will stop here. Thank you for your interest and follow-up. See you in the next part of the story.